Sorry, I had a bit of a computer malfunction, we'll call it. Computer kind of locked up, so I stopped it, and I'm going to start all over. So we're going to go ahead and go to our graph, and this time, instead of our class boundaries down here, which we really shouldn't have anyway, we will be using our midpoints. But we're not going to label it as midpoints. We're going to label it as what it is, which is the temperature in Fahrenheit. All right. Now, on our little dashes, we're not going to use the lower limits or the upper limits or the lower boundaries or the upper boundaries. We are going to use our midpoints. And our midpoints were 102, 107, 112, 117, 122, 127, and 132. I have 2 extra here. Don't pay any attention to those. I'll actually get rid of them right now. Okay. And our frequency, the same. You got to figure out your scale, what works. For us, it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. I do have an extra one, but it's okay. We can label it. At 102, that was a frequency of 2. 107 was up to 8. 112 was up to 18. So again, line it up. 117 had a frequency of 13. 122 was 7. There. And these last ones, 127 and 132, are 1 each. Now what you do with your frequency is just connect the dots. I'll do the best I can. Now the difference is how many of them were before 102. We always want to connect it to our horizontal. So right after our ending, we want it to go down to horizontal axis and touch it. Okay, so that is a frequency distribution. This is what it looks like. And like they said, a frequency polygon or a frequency, I did say distribution in last one. A frequency polygon is anchored on the x-axis before the first class and after your last class. Finally, your ogive. Ogive is a graph that represents the cumulative frequencies for the classes in a frequency distribution. And in this case, you use the upper class boundaries. The reason you use the upper class boundaries is because it's everything from the upper and down. Remember, everything that fell in the class, well, everything that fell in the class was at the upper boundary or lower. So that's why we use this. I'm going to go back real quick. I'm going to actually undo everything here, because we're going to be using different numbers. So, is on page 54. Again, we're going to use our states. So here's the exact same table that we've been using. There's a cumulative frequency. And what we will be using are these class boundaries right here, the upper class boundaries. So it'll look like this. So our numbers will be 104.5, 109.5, etc. So that's going to go down here. Don't do that. Oh, it's been a struggle today. Sorry about that, everyone. Now what's it doing? We got 114.5, 119.5, 124.5, 129.5, 134.5. And again, I have these extra. Over here, we're going to use different numbers. I don't want to use those. Reason we want to use different numbers on this is because we have to go all the way up until the total number of objects that there were. In this case, the total number of temperatures. And we had 50 temperatures, 50 different observations. So we can either go by 5, 10, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'll be able to sneak 10 in there. 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to go by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Okay. So how many were at or below 104.5? And there were 2. So I'm looking at 2 is approximately right there. And again, where I'm getting these numbers is right here. There were 2 in that class. How many were at 109.5 or below? There were 10 at 109.5 or below. How many were at or below 114.5? There were another 18, so we're sitting at 28. How many were at or below 119.5? That was 41. How many were at or below 124.5? That was 48. How many were at or below 129.5? I put this one in the wrong spot. That should be right about there. 129.5 should be there. And then finally 134.5 should be there. And then, again, you connect your dots. I apologize for how messy this looks. It is super, super tough using this. But I'll get better at it, I promise. The other thing is, what was before this? Our lower class limit was 99.5. How many were before that? 0. And that's why you should anchor it to your lowest limit. You do not go any further than this, so you do not anchor it down over here. Here it is, looking much better. And that's the way that it looks. I apologize for this video. I had some technical problems. I hope they're not all this bad. See you tomorrow.